The long-awaited rebrand is finally here, and it is delicious. All the details and how the Magic make it worth it today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is June 3rd. It will be June 4th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I am the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, new logo, who dis? The Orlando Magic's long-awaited rebrand has finally happened. What the Magic got right, what the Magic could tweak still, maybe a little bit. Now the Magic hit this rebrand out of the park, but ultimately its success depends on what happens on the floor. We're going to get to all that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. We truly appreciate all of our everydayers, our everyday listeners. You guys rock. Keep spreading the word. We're still going strong this offseason as we try to get to 5,000 likes or subscribers on YouTube before the start of the next season. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you are listening on the audio, appreciate you. Love our audio listeners. You guys rock. There's going to be a lot of visual aids in this episode. This is a visual episode. If you probably were confused by the intro, I am holding a cookie from the event this morning, from the event Tuesday morning, as the Orlando Magic have officially unveiled their new logo, their new jerseys, their new look, their new branding. After 4 years, according to Alex Martins, of research, development, and thinking and tinkering, the Orlando Magic have unveiled to the world their new look. And before we dive into each individual piece of this look and begin breaking it down, I want to say this. They did a great job. There are things to debate. There are things to look at. I think generally when this stuff happens, people are like, just don't be bad. And this is not bad. Like you can dislike parts of pieces of this thing. This is not bad. The Magic did a great job on this. When I first got a look at all the new branding on Monday, they sent it to me early so I could pre-write some stuff before they officially announced it. My first thought was the logo is a home run, hit it out of the park. I told Magic PR, I told Shelly Wilkes, the executive vice president of marketing and social responsibility for the Orlando Magic, that I really think they did a good job. And I hope my voice carries some weight as a fan from my youth and now as a reporter covering the team. I really think they did a good job on this. Throughout this process, as Alex Martin said it and put it, the Magic tried to listen to fans. They knew it was time for a rebrand. The Orlando Magic have had the same logo since moving into the Kia Center, nay Amway Center, in 2010. They've worn the same jersey since the 2009 season. It was time to update the look. Frankly, and we're going to get to this point here in a minute, the old jerseys, as much success as the Magic had in 2009 and 2010 and through to 2012, they'd kind of become synonymous with losing, with the darkest period in the franchise's history. Now with Paolo, Banchero, now with Franz Wagner, and obviously this process started in 2021, if not sooner. The development of this jersey, of this look, at least according to Alex Martins, really kicked into high gear in 2021. And so obviously they didn't know the timing of all this, that it would come with the Magic on the upswing. But very, very clearly, they wanted to tap into this nostalgic power. They listened to fans. And I would agree with this. I've had fans tell me this a million times. Just go back to the original wordmark and logos. Just go back to all the original stuff. That was the best. It was perfect. Why did you ever leave it? Well, some of it is that, sensibilities change a little bit. Go back and look at some of those jerseys from the early 90s, mid 90s, late 80s. They're pretty gaudy. They are definitely of their time. And look, as iconic as the Magic original logo is, it is very much a product of the 90s. It is very much a kind of cartoonish, loud, bold statement. And brands should evolve. They should change. The Magic very much had to signal a new era after losing Shaquille O'Neal and it kind of develop itself a little bit and all that stuff. But ultimately, Orlando came back to its history. They came back to their past. They came back to why fans still have such a deep connection to this franchise, even if they aren't Magic fans. Those pinstripe jerseys of the early 90s, mid 90s, throughout the 90s, the whole 90s, in fact, those pinstripe jerseys are some of the best NBA fashion there is. There is a strong statement to say y'all should never have left that. The font was perfect. And we'll get to what the new jerseys look like here in a minute. The Magic very much heard from fans and their focus groups and their social media surveys, heard from fans, we love the throwback stuff. We love the original jerseys. We love the original wordmark. When the Magic changed their logo in 2010, I described it as the franchise maturing. They kept the pinstripes. The jersey still had the pinstripes. They still had that callback, but it was trying to be futuristic. And by dumping the star as the A, to me, that was always the most egregious thing that they did. It wasn't that it wasn't bad, but it made the logo lose some character, in my opinion. It made the branding and it made the look for this team just feel very corporate and buttoned up. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, the Magic changed their logo for the 21st anniversary season. Franchise was old enough to drink. It felt like I'm trying to be mature type deal. And very clearly, as you'll see as we dive into the branding a little bit, and I show it here on the YouTube. So if you're listening on the audio, go check out the YouTube page, subscribe to the YouTube page. We're going to do some audio. We're going to do some visual stuff here. I'll try and describe things for those who prefer to listen on audio, but all of this is on the YouTube page. All this will be on the YouTube page as well. Just go to Locked On Magic. The Magic very much heard from fans and listened to fans that say, give us the old stuff back. And frankly, the reemergence, the re-emphasis, the bringing back the Orlando Magic theme song, the celebration that was the 35th anniversary season last year, which was wrapped in nostalgia, whether it was the jerseys, which the Magic did not go back to the pinstripe jerseys for the first time. Clearly, we'll see why they didn't do that here. They went back to the Tracy McGrady Stars era jerseys, and we'll probably see that for the 40th anniversary season. We'll probably see the white version of that jersey for the 40th anniversary season here in 5 years. Since you'll see why in a second, if you haven't seen the jerseys already. The Magic clearly heard loud and clear there is a deep connection, a deep cultural connection to this, to the jerseys, to the look of this franchise's history. And that very much seemed to inform everything the Magic put out and presented to the public as their new look, as their new brand on Tuesday. Now, I want this to be the big takeaway of this episode. I am a fan of this new look. There are things we will argue about. There are things that I don't like that I think could have been tweaked and improved and should have been fixed and spotted and all that stuff. But overall, I like this. If the Magic can't go back to their original jerseys and their original look and all that stuff, which NBA rules say they cannot, this is a forward-thinking, this is a modern update to what we associate as the Magic look. And again, we can argue and disagree about some things here and there, and that's fine. I would grade this as an A-. It is a 7 or 8 out of 10, if not a 9 out of 10. There are things to tweak and be like, okay, I don't know quite about this. But all things considered, Magic fans have to be really happy and really excited about the way the team's going to look, because now they got the fresh duds. They got the fresh fit. Now they can go out and make things happen on the court. So what does this all look like? If you're watching on YouTube, I'm about to show you. If you're listening, I will try and describe it to you. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at BetterHelp. Let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough, and that's men's mental health. There is this pressure to always keep it together, to perform, provide, and never show weakness. But the truth is, real strength comes from opening up and taking care of your mental well-being. Every year, 6 million men in the US experience depression, and many go undiagnosed. But talking to someone, a friend, a loved one, or therapist can make a huge difference. Therapy isn't just for moments of crisis, although it's good to have that person there and that relationship established when you are facing one. It's great for learning how to set boundaries, building healthy coping tools, and being the best version of yourself. With more than 35,000 licensed professionals, BetterHelp makes it easy to find a therapist who understands you. You can connect from anywhere, switch therapists at any time, and fit sessions into your schedule with just a click. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. So we have talked about it for 10 minutes, almost 12 minutes now on the show. Let's show them. Let's show off the goods. Let's show off what this whole thing looks like. Here it is, the Orlando Magic's new logo in its beautiful glory. Now, there are a lot of people who are kind of annoyed by this trend to go to circular logos. I have long suspected, as teams have trended toward circular logos or like these sort of crest type logos, that it is a preview for the eventual ads on jerseys. It's coming. You can like it, you can hate it. It's coming. All things considered, we could argue about the font, and I think most people, as I've looked at the responses to the Magic's new look, the font comes up a lot. A lot of people are not super thrilled with the font that the Magic are using and how that looks. But all things considered, this is pretty much what you would expect from the Magic logo. Ryan DeVos, grandson of Rich DeVos, he's on the board. He's on the board for the Magic. He's of the family. He is as involved as anyone on the day-to-day of the Magic operations. Ryan DeVos kind of talked to us a little bit about the logo design. He said, look, if you're not going to represent Magic as a hat, a rabbit coming out of a hat, you really don't have a way to represent the Magic. And I think that's always been one of the problems of the quote unquote Magic logo. It kind of has to be what it was originally, where you have a basketball with trailing stars. You have the star as the A. You touch up what your word mark, what your logo looks like. And so that evolved into what we had before, which was very staid, very corporate, again, all that stuff. It was very, very clear that bringing back the kind of the basketball with the trailing stars, the old school type of logo, was part of the priority in this. Was to bring back something that looked more like the regular logo, that looked more like the original logo. And honestly, I can't complain. As someone who adores the original logo, again, I don't know if I have anything behind me that has it on there. I do actually. No, not really. As someone who enjoys the original logo, and again, I think that is the peak. As much as I loved kind of the streaking ball logo that Magic have used essentially since 2000 as their secondary logo, this is as good as you could get. And look, I'll go ahead and go full screen here again. On my cookie here, secondary logo, that's to me, that's the Magic logo. To me, that's what the Magic secondary logo should be. So in this sense, I really think the Magic did I saw this logo and I was immediately like, A+. You hit this thing out of the park. Now, a logo is a logo. It's going to be at center court. I'll actually put up the court here in a minute. Court looks amazing. It looks better in person than it does in the mock-up that I'm showing you on the YouTube here. The black really pops, makes the blue pop on the court. Again, you can see the word marking on the sidelines as well, or on the baseline as well. The stars are back. That is a big thing in this. The Magic did a really good job. Now, let's go to the jerseys. Let's turn to the jerseys now. The jerseys, I think, are a really good progression and evolution of the original pinstripe jerseys. The bold pinstripes are back. Like, this is not a half measure pinstripe. These are pinstripe jerseys. They look like the Magic jerseys. They look like the jerseys that we remember from the 90s, but obviously the font's a little bit different. We'll get to the statement edition jersey here in a minute. But I saw these and I was like, the icon edition, that white jersey, by far my favorite. That is what a Magic jersey should look like. You can even see here on the pants. They got the Magic logo in the middle. They got the blue and black like the original. They actually, you can't see it in the photo that I have that the Magic sent us, but they have the stars on the side of the pants, not as low as it was in the original, but you could tell like this is a very clearly inspired by the original pinstripe jerseys, but given a little bit of a twist, given a little bit of an update. Now, I will agree with you on this. And I've seen people evolve on this as the days gone on. And again, I think for the most part, Magic fans have been really positive about this rebrand. And I was talking to some people after I saw it originally on Monday. I was like, people were worried about it when it became clear that this was happening today. And I said, like, guys, like, you're going to be happy. Like, there are things that you'll probably agree or disagree with, but for the most part, you're going to be very, very happy with how this looks. And again, like, the white jerseys to me are exactly what I want to see. Again, you can hate or love the font. And I think the grade that you give this jersey is going to depend on how you feel about the font. The Magic could not go back to their original font. That is, protected, classic logo now. NBA rules would not allow them to do that. Could this be a little different? Sure. I don't know what the other options were, but I really, really like the white jerseys. To me are perfect. And honestly, I would have loved to have seen Magic on the road blues. Now, I like these blue jerseys. Do not get me wrong. This is a great idea. This is a great template. I actually don't even hate the number marking. What this photo with Franz that the Magic sent me does not show is that Orlando is kind of small. It's kind of squished up. And the Magic kind of did this with the Knicks kind of did this same thing where they kind of went back to a classic jersey, but they had New York across the chest, like straight across the chest, not tilted, not curved, not curled, not arced, whatever it is. I don't know what the exact term is. And New York just looked kind of small and scrunched. Orlando looks the same way on these blue jerseys. Again, I love having the star back as the A. I think that distinguishing characteristic, that distinguishing mark is just so iconic to me. When they got rid of that in the 2010 logo, I was like, I get the idea. I think that's a mistake because you've taken away all character from the logo. It literally just says Orlando Magic. It doesn't say anything else. It doesn't mean anything else. It's got no distinction to it. The blue jerseys are fine. And again, like the idea, like I love the ideas and the concept behind these jerseys, and that it is the original pinstripe jerseys evolved, like updated, modernized a little bit. And again, how far you go with this goes with the font. The one that I figured would have everybody talking, though, was the statement edition jersey. Now, these are the third jerseys. These are the, I don't know I think blue was the statement edition last year, but these are your third jerseys. And I was personally told that they will be around for 3 years, that they'll be updated again in 3 years. These take inspiration from what I think is one of the best pieces of Magic fashion, and that is the original road warm-up jersey. Now, those looked exactly like this. Pinstripes on the bottom, Magic going across the chest, and diagonally like that, and then blue on the top and blue on the left sleeve, I believe, on one or both of the sleeves. I don't remember. I have to go back to my closet, look at mine. That's where the inspiration of this comes from. So again, you're playing with nostalgia. And honestly, I would say this. I think these have grown on me a little bit. I did see them in person. They are all black on the back, so that blue doesn't carry over to the back. There is no streaking ball on the back either, which is a little disappointing as well. Which is the best part of those jerseys. But overall, like, these are really nice. And they've grown on me a little bit. Yeah, could they have pinstriped the top with the blue? That's not how it was on the original warm-up jersey. For an alternate third jersey, these are fine. Are these what the Magic are probably going to wear on opening night? Probably not on opening night because they want to showcase the other parts of the jerseys, but their other new jerseys. But again, I've always been of the belief that when you have, big corporations, when you have big, industries, I'm always for them taking risks and doing something different and not playing it safe. I will give the Magic credit. This is not playing it safe. This is trying something. This is seeing if it works. This is doing a callback, not apologizing for it. And so I will applaud the effort, even if it doesn't work out. And honestly, I think it's decently executed. Again, I think all of these ideas are good ideas that, for the most part, are executed well. Are they executed perfectly? No, not all the time. But I think these will grow on us. And I think, I'm a big fan of what the Magic did here. I think the Magic really, really did a good job showcasing these ideas. They had a clear purpose with what they wanted to do with this look and with this logo. And they went out and they hit most of the marks that I think fans wanted to see. Did they hit every mark? Probably not. Again, I think people are arguing. The biggest thing people are arguing are the fonts. And that's about it. And if all you're arguing is font and everything else people are generally pretty happy with, I think you've done a pretty good job here. Ultimately, our feelings about these jerseys aren't going to have anything to do with these design preferences or anything else. It's going to be about how we associate these jerseys with the team. The Magic have always used their look and their brand to define their era. It's on Paolo and Franz and this Orlando Magic team now to define what these jerseys are. The new era ahead of the Orlando Magic coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at OpenPhone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. OpenPhone lets you manage business calls and texts from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. And their AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. OpenPhone is offering our listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OpenPhone, OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. When you watch an Orlando Magic game, past or present, you always know what you're seeing. You don't need to see the players on the floor, the numbers on the jerseys. You just have to look at the jersey themselves. Would the pinstripes of that original Orlando Magic team be so beloved, be so nostalgic, be something the Magic want to revive in some way? If not, for Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway and the sensation they became. Would we even think twice about the Stars jerseys, if not for Tracy McGrady? Frankly, nobody remembers the jerseys the Magic wore between T-Mac and Dwight, or what T-Mac wore in his last year and what Dwight wore his first, 3 seasons in the league? Because A, they were bland and boring and terrible, but B, because the Magic didn't do anything in them. Why did people grow kind of tired of the Magic's old jersey set? Because while the Magic went to the finals in them in their first year wearing them, they began to become synonymous with losing, with a decade lost in the wilderness. I can't tell you how many times we would report, oh, the Magic are wearing white tonight, and I'd have a stream of fans tell me, I don't like the white jerseys. We always lose in the white jerseys. It's not just that maybe the jerseys weren't beloved or distinctive to begin with. It's they'd become associated with losing. The Magic needed a rebrand as much because, yeah, things had gotten stayed. Like the Magic have worn the same jersey set since 2009, since the 2009 season, 17 years in the same jersey. It was time to upgrade and update. Magic, you obviously experiment with some stuff with the City Edition now on the Nike deal, but it was time to update and upgrade. It was time. But it was time to, because this is a new era of Magic basketball. This is an era that needs its own visual language, its own distinction, its own way for fans to always know this is the time that I'm watching. This is the group that I'm watching. This is the excellence I expect. And what now becomes so exciting for the Orlando Magic is they have a chance to define this era. Anybody sitting on the fence about what these jerseys are or whether they like or dislike these jerseys and this logo, to be honest, is going to come down to one thing: what the Magic do in them, how the Magic perform in them, the iconic moments that become etched into our brain while they are wearing these jerseys. It's going to come down to, is this the jersey the Magic wear when they lift the Larry O'Brien trophy for the first time? Is this the jersey the Magic wear the next time they go in the finals, the next time they win a playoff series? For however long that Paolo, Banchero, and Franz Wagner are in Orlando, these are the jerseys that are going to define their era, define this era of Magic basketball. Look, it is a bit of luck that the Magic are changing their look and changing their brand on the precipice of a new era, of an era that has fans excited and motivated about this team again, that has fans engaged about this team. I see everyone watching and listening to my pods. Like it is higher than it was 2 years ago. People are excited and interested about this team again. And look, they started this process in 2021. I was told the jerseys were done and approved at the beginning of the season, not in time to make it for the season. But the Magic very much have timed this at a really important and fortuitous moment, because we expect a busy offseason. After 2 straight playoff appearances, we expect the Magic to take steps to make a leap to the next level. We expect that Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are 2 max players. The first time the Magic have had 2 max players since Dwight and Rashard Lewis. That they could be all-stars at the same time. The first time the Magic would have 2 all-stars in the same team since 2009, when Jameer Nelson and Rashard Lewis also made it in addition to Dwight Howard. We understand that this is the Magic's best chance to win a title in almost 2 decades now. Scary that we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary of that team. We understand what is possible with this group. And ultimately, all the accoutrements, all that other stuff, it doesn't matter. As much as everyone complains about the Cleveland Cavaliers wearing those black sleeve jerseys during Game 7 of the NBA Finals that year, that's the iconic moment. I bet I could ask Cavs fans and they would say they love those jerseys. Ultimately, success is what defines the era. Success is what defines how we view and how we look back at these moments in franchise history. And these jerseys are certainly a callback to a successful time, to one of the most successful times in franchise history. They are certainly trying to dig up that nostalgia. But they're different enough that they can carve their own place. And if the Magic start to take the league by storm, if the Magic are able to win a championship, and do more beyond that, then these will be the jerseys that define the franchise. And all those people on the fence will probably buy theirs and love them too. At the end of the day, this is all window dressing. And that's good. Window dressing is good. It entices people in. It's new merch. I'll probably get my merch at some point too. But ultimately, what is going to make these jerseys a success or failure, an all-time great or an idea that didn't quite hit the mark, is A, how they look on the floor in action, but B, what the Magic do in them. Orlando, as an organization, has always changed their look to define a new era. They did it with Shaq, obviously in the initial years. They did it after Shaq left with Penny and T-Mac. They did it after T-Mac left with Dwight. And now they're doing it with Paolo and Franz. And ultimately, the staying power of this jersey, the staying power is going to be how long this era of Magic basketball lasts and what the Magic are able to do with it. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can, of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them makes you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. Again, goal is to get to 5,000 subscribers before the start of next season. We've just crossed 4,000 a few weeks ago. Truly appreciate that. Keep telling your friends. If you're an audio-only listener, this is, again, a great episode to look at, to be visual. I'll show my cookie one more time because I'm going to eat it after the show ends. Definitely subscribe on YouTube if you have not done so already. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com, where I wrote plenty about the new logo and what it all means. You can find that at OMagicDaily, or at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, and follow us on Twitter there at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, where I will be getting back to player evaluations tomorrow, you can check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day, go make your second listen of the day, the Locked On NBA Big Board Show. NBA draft expert Rafael Barlow reacts to every workout, interview, and rumor leading up to the NBA draft. Find Locked On NBA Big Board on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. On tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic, it's the Orlando Magic preview of the NBA Finals, what the Magic should be and need to be watching in the NBA Finals, and what they can learn from the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. Plus, I'll make my prediction. I'll go on record. Screw it. We'll talk about that tomorrow on Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Phil Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.